funniest pets and people. A battle for the Super Scooper. A goat who's a real cowboy. From here to futility. A sports booking dog takes the under. Home is where you scratch where it itches, when it itches. So sit back and relax.
It's the show that will have you sick.
Stay, laugh, and beg for more. Welcome to Funniest Pets and People. So, you think you're a tough guy, huh? Well, see if you feel so tough after watching these tough guys. You probably still will. Gilbert is the sheepdog apprentice. They're starting him off in the pen just until he gets the hang of it. They're also starting him out with the goats. Now, once he can herd the goats in the pen, then it'll be time to try the sheep outside the pen. I mean, you don't just start with the sheep outside the pen. After all, you gotta work up to it, right? He just doesn't want to hear those two words every apprentice dreads. You're fired. He wants to hear, you're hired. Whiskers knew that to really get to the bottom of what was going on in the birdcage, he would have to go undercover. He tried his best to blend in. Heck, he even chirped a little. But it didn't take long for them to make him out as a cat. Ah, well, back to the drawing board. Hey, maybe one of the birds will sing like a canary, huh? You ever hear the expression, as the crow flies? That is the most direct route between two places. When a crow is in the air, he is all business. Notice the expression is not as the crow walks. And here's why. On the ground, crows meander, wander, and vacillate. They never get anywhere, let alone as soon as possible. So remember, go as the crow flies, but never ever as the crow walks. Timmy appears to be digging for something. What's that, girl? What's that? Timmy's buried under the rock pile and not the dirt pile? Atta girl, Cassie, atta girl. Cassie says you're digging in the wrong pile there, son. Not only did Ike and Alec both build their doghouses at the exact same time using the exact same type of wood, but now they both want to put a flagpole out front, and it appears there is only one left. You know, I bet if Job called for the flagpole to be cut in half, Ike and Alec would be really cool with it. It was Yuri's only day off that month, and he was determined to enjoy it no matter what the weather was like. Sure, it was cold, sure it was overcast, but Yuri knew that just as long as he got a little hammock time, he would be happy. I mean, seriously, what more could happen? Sorry, Yuri, looks like work is more relaxing than leisure time for you. Bake sales, egg painting, garage sales, hoedowns, going antiquing, and this show. What is the common thread? Well, they're all fun. Brutus here is learning the hard way. Playing fetch in Daytona is a little bit different. And this is just one of the 500 reasons why. Ursa just got back from spending the day in the reptile house watching the snake shed, and it certainly seems to have affected him. Now, he can do that all day, but his skin ain't going nowhere. He'll be less itchy, though. the S on their shirt stands for? Is it sweet or maybe special? Symphonic? How about sandpiper? Maybe sure-footed? Okay, well, definitely not sure-footed. I'm gonna go with sweet. The arabesque may be the most graceful dance move, but I prefer the plop for surefire smile value. Mabel thought for sure that if the cat and the dog each had their own chair, they wouldn't fight as much. I mean, she kind of understood them fighting over a single chair. They could both be quite territorial, so she bought them each one. She even made sure they were identical all the way down to the fabric covers. Yet there they go, fighting like cats and dogs, even though they each have their own chair. Hey, you know, I wonder, is it because they are cats and dogs? We're all in favor of you shaking your booty out there on the dance floor. But when you do, could you please make sure no children are in the way? Looks like Rudy got bootied. What a cutie patootie. Not very snooty. After losing the grand championship to a computer last year, Bobby had to start all over again at the very bottom and work his way back up. So far, he has defeated the gerbil and the cat. Now, if he wins this, he has to take on the pig and then the horse. He'll get back to the top. If he has to beat the whole barnyard to do it. Coming up, nobody gives Callista the cold shoulder. And you jump, jive, and then you flail. When we return to Funniest Pets and People. Welcome back to Funniest Pets and People. Now, just because there's no horseplay at the pool, does that mean there can't be any pool play at the stables? I'm just horsing around. Sure, they could just give him a water trough, but El Kabong is a racehorse, and they want him to learn to stretch that neck in case of a photo finish. You see, this way, he'll quench his thirst, but also be thirsting for victory, huh? We'll take El Kabong to win by a nose. Billy thought he was finally going to fulfill his lifelong dream of being a jockey. Heck, he'd wanted to be one ever since he was a kid. Too bad his trusty steed's racing days were behind him. They may not make a run for the roses, but they are right there for a walk to the picnic table. Plus, it is a heck of a lot easier to dismount from a stationary horse. Frosty borrowed Midnight's favorite scarf without asking. And when she asked about it, Frosty gave her the cold shoulder. So Midnight just took it, and Frosty immediately lost his head. When Midnight went back to talk about it, Frosty just went to pieces. Some friendships cannot be repaired, okay? At summer's end, the locals gather to do their annual dance welcoming the fall. Works. Whenever I feel nostalgic, I just hit rewind. There comes a time in every gorilla's life when he must face the fact that he is just too big to keep monkeying around. It's true. The bigger they are, the harder they do fall.
Yeah!
Why do birds love the pop techno tunes of Boy Fauntleroy? Simple. Boy Fauntleroy records the sound of birdseed falling through the bars of a cage and hitting a metal dish. Then he digitizes it, removes the bass, cranks up the treble, doctors the reverb, and adds a healthy dose of funk. It takes a balanced ear to pick up the nuances, or two teeny tiny ones. Fred here says you can take that to the bank. It used to be a thing of science fiction movies, man being replaced by machines, right? But it is becoming reality. Barney has been hard at work in his doghouse for months, making the Fetchinator 2000 out of spare parts he found around in the garage. If he makes one that can walk and feed him, the human race may go the way of the rotary phone. It wasn't until the reception that Reggie realized that Rhonda had gone against his wishes and purchased the traditional wedding cake. Reggie wanted to shirk tradition and get pie. He told all his friends there would be pie. Reggie really wanted there to be a wedding pie fight, so they had to make do with a wedding cake fight. You ever see the bride look so sweet? Bosco hated to see the old merry-go-round go. He didn't say anything when they took the wooden horses away. He almost barked when they removed the calliope. But when the workers came to take the go-round, he decided to hold on for dear life. Oh yeah, they could take it if they wanted. But they were gonna have to take Bosco with it. Jumbo was the luckiest dog on the planet. No matter how many times he played this slot machine, he got a payout. No wonder he's begging his owners to take him to Vegas. Jumbo was the king of all slots. Next stop, the Baccarat table. Oh, John made a terrible mistake. With so many snacks on the table, he accidentally served Jasper a can of jumping beans. Now John is trying to find something to calm him down. He'd better hurry. Once the rest of those jumping beans kick in, Jasper will be able to hop up there himself. Poor Ralph, the referee. The light bulb in his closet was out, so he got dressed in a hurry. Oh, he put on the right shirt, and he put on the right pants. He even grabbed the proper hat. The problem came when he grabbed his footwear. He meant to grab his regulation referee cleats with extra good traction. Instead, he grabbed his slippers. Once again, it's time to explain simple math the fun way, using a dog and a grandma. Today's lesson, the circle. A circle is a set of all points in a plane at a fixed distance from a given point. Grandma is the point, the leash is the radius, and little Euclid is walking the circumference. Good boy. Next time, pi. Euclid says it is 3.14.
Grandma says it is rhubarb.
Coming up, one dog goes under, and the other goes over. When we return to Funniest Pets and People. Welcome back to Funniest Pets and People. Someday, when you speak of these times, and trust me, you will, remember them as good times. Every afternoon, Jimmy would run to the connecting door to play floor frisbee with the neighbor's pet. They'd never met and didn't even know what each other looked like. Heck, they never spoke for fear they would get caught and told to knock it off. They cherished these moments. It was fun having a floor frisbee playmate. Jimmy figured he was playing with a dog who was a lot like himself. The cat on the other side of the door figured she was playing with a feline similar to herself. Well, whether they know or not, one thing's for sure. No matter who your partner is, there is nothing better than a game of floor frisbee in the afternoon. Now, greet your partners, Dad-a-beak. We're gonna square dance with just a tweak. Now step on the carpet. Wow, that's paisley. Don't look too long or it'll go hazy. Don't step too lively. Don't do the bop. Your partner's little leg's gonna make him hop. Now there you have it. You got it made. Look at that little birdie promenade. Hee-hee. Man, there's nothing like a good square dance. Without these folks, our bodies wouldn't be so clean and our lawns wouldn't look so nice. It's waterworks. Homer could not believe he fell for the old, "Hey, look, a giant donut is in the lake" gag. So to save face, he thought he'd just float on it for a while like he knew it all along. Don't worry, Homer. Your secret is cool with us. At Camp Ticonderoga, the more experienced swimmers are expected to help out the newbies. The counselors at Camp Ticonderoga believe it builds character. Brandy has never even been near the water, so Ben is giving her a ride. And how is Ben able to pull Brandy through the water so easily? Well, by doing the dog paddle, of course. You guys walked right into that one. Remember the motto of Camp Ticonderoga: there is no such thing as a bad dog. Now here's a little summer safety tip for your beach fun. If there are no boats, no lifeguards, no other swimmers, and no fish, well, maybe the surf's a little too rough, huh? We said maybe the surf is a little too... What are the cats saying about Baba Marsh's tuna oil spray, mister? Well, they aren't saying anything, because they can't stop gulping, licking, and devouring the fine mist of tuna juice that comes vaporizing out of every pump of Mama Marsh's tuna oil spray mister. Whether you spray it on their dry kibble or let them slurp the mist right out of the air, your cat will go crazy for the fishy humidity of Mama Marsh's tuna oil spray mister. Wherever fine feline cuisine is sold, ask for it by name. You're soaking in it. The ancient art of acupuncture is a technique of inserting and manipulating filiform needles into yin and yang acupuncture points on the body to restore health and combat pain. To accomplish this, it is recommended one goes to a licensed acupuncture specialist. A much less popular technique is to simply paddle your canoe into some riverside scrub brush. This comes with a unique set of problems. Number one, the odds against you hitting the exact acupuncture points are astronomical, and rather than alleviating pain, the canoe and scrub brush method is more likely to cause more discomfort. One way to alleviate that discomfort would be to go to a licensed acupuncturist. So why not just do that in the first place? Coming up, a pigeon who can pull all the strings. when we return to Funniest Pets and People. Welcome back to Funniest Pets and People. Tilly here really wanted to redo her entire nest in frilly human ribbon. Nothing too gauche or ostentatious, just something other than twigs and grass. Then again, grass is traditional, classy, and most of all, easy to gather. See you next time.